Alright guys, so today we are painting trim on an E90. E90 has some issues with black trim. You'll see a lot of them. It'll be faded on the rear windshield, on the top. We just painted this. We'll come back to that here in a minute. A lot of times the windshield wipers will get faded, and they actually make a paint just for that. Now, you don't have to use this paint. You can use many different kinds. I use one of the two kinds here. And this particular one is Duplicolor trim paint. I don't know. This is a little bit older can. I think it's called I think it's still called the same thing, but I think it looks a little different nowadays. And this is a can I had on the shelf, so it's a few years old. And spray paint lasts for a long time, especially here. You know, this is kept in AC inside on the shelf, so it's going to last a long time. Now, you can see over here that this top trim, and the E90s are the worst about this. They start doing this crap, and they start kind of peeling up, and pieces of that black rubbery stuff come off of it. And this one's missing a little door. And actually, if any of you guys have a parts E90 and it has this little door for the top here, PM me or write me a message. Yeah, I definitely need to buy one of those. And there's some on eBay, but you know, I didn't buy them that second, and I haven't seen them on there any since. Anyway, even these B pillars, they could get faded out. A lot of trim on top of the windows, and not just for E90, pretty much any car. So what we done here, we took our trim paint and we took some fairly heavy grit sandpaper, and this car had all the black peeled off from here all the way back. So we took a little heavier sandpaper that you'd ordinarily use so it scratched it nice. And a lot of the problems with these cars are all these parts are aluminum and they're pretty shiny, and from the factory they didn't prep them right, and down the road that rubberized paint will actually peel off. So pretty much what we've done here is sprayed all this. I sprayed a little spot, realized that the new paint is much nicer looking than the old faded paint, and we're gonna have to do something. Now we have it taped off with this 2-inch masking tape. Now the trim paint sprays a pretty narrow band, so basically all I did, you can see the band's only coming out to right there. As we're spraying it, just kind of moved this towel along and sprayed and sprayed and sprayed. It worked perfect. No overspray anywhere. Everything is good. There's just a tiny bit even on the rag. And so, long story short, we end up painting the whole strip, and it looks great. It looks factory. Now, I'm going to put one more coat back here. I can still see a few sand scratches in the reflection there. We'll put another coat or maybe two on there, and you can still see barely where our break is from the factory coating to the new coating. We might go ahead and sand that a little bit more and feather that edge and reshoot this once or twice more. Now, same way up here on the front of the windshield, we just taped it right there. The best way to do this job is to remove this piece. However, if you remove that piece, you're probably going to break all the clips. Didn't want to do that. I don't have those kind of clips here, so we just taped it off in place. It's always best, no matter what you're doing, to remove stuff from the car whenever you can. Same with your windshield wipers. You can take newspapers, you could lay those in, you could paint those if you want. It's best to take them off. So basically what we're going to do here, now that I look at it and how nice the other side is and how nasty this side looks, I'm going to go ahead and just tape this off. Now what we're going to have to do here, more than likely, whenever I get a new door for this, this car is, we're trading this to John, so John's going to have to, if I don't get in before we sell it to him, which probably won't, he's going to have to bring the car down to me, or I'll have to bring that can of paint up to him. We'll have to paint that new door, so whenever we snap it on, it'll match the rest of it. And this stuff's so old and faded. Everything on these cars is faded. This is not faded because we just replaced that. So that still looks pretty good. But if you're really wanting to get that crazy with it, you could paint all this stuff, but you know, I don't know. One other thing we always use too, if you don't want to have to paint the whole thing and you want the more faded look, you could use a flat, like a flat black. And I've also used the Duplicolor engine enamel before, and I think there's a can of it right here actually. No, This isn't exactly what I was talking about. You could use this too, but this is like wicked expensive. You could use a header paint because the end finish is gonna look just like that, right? And this stuff, anything flat you spray on, this is made to be baked on a header to where it turns hard. You could use engine enamel. The engine enamel without clear coat on it will eventually fade off. Anything with a flat finish will eventually fade off. So the trim paint, it won't fade. Probably eventually it will, but that'll fix it for a long time. It's about, I don't know, depends on where you buy it at, $6, $7, $8 a can for a can of that. Spray paint went dramatically up. So yeah, that's what we're gonna do. So let's go ahead and do it now. Maybe we'll set up a little time lapse trying to paint the damn camera lens, and we'll shoot a video of it. Okay, so we just shot the first coat on it, and you can't put the first coat on very heavy, but we hit it with this. Where the hell did it go? Where I put the sanding sponge, and I don't know what grit that is, but it worked perfect. The edge of it to go right down that, and I don't know if that's. It feels like a worn out, maybe like a 400. And when you paint something, you don't want to sand it any more fine than 400. That's kind of your minimum to grab. A lot of guys disagree with that. Depends on what you're doing, really. But this turned out really good. We're going to go ahead and give it a few minutes here. We're going to let it start flashing off. We'll shoot one more coat on this side. And I don't know if you guys can see or not, but as I did that, I kept leaving the picture. And I went back here and I sanded this. You saw me come with the Makita battery power leaf blower just to blow the dust off of it. Then came back with that microfiber and just a tiny bit of solvent, and I wiped it. And you can see this looks dramatically better. And this still needs one more. I'm gonna put one more coat on that after it dries a little bit, and that should do pretty good. We're gonna end up just like this. You can see it's like a matte finish, like a good factory looking finish. And that's where you want to end up with it. So let's let it dry, give it a good 30 minutes. There's like no humidity in here. That stuff doesn't stink very bad. You're probably wondering how I'm doing this with no mask and inside with AC on. It actually doesn't stink at all. We flip the AC to fresh air. It's gonna pull a lot of that crap out of the air. Okay, so I think we're ready for the very last coat. I think we'll just go ahead and respray both sides one last time. It's been about 30 minutes. You can see it's flashed off to a semi gloss slash kind of flat. I do have the toolbox on here and set the camera on. Does a rubber feet on the bottom, and is on the glass. So in case you're wondering, I'm not putting anything on the paint. No better than that. So yeah, I don't know. Let's go ahead and shoot it one more time here. I'll just spray it real quick, and we'll see the final product. Okay, so here's the finished product. Hopefully this light's good enough to see. It should be. It's still wet. We took the tape off when it's wet. And what that allows you to do, like, no matter how good you tape, actually there's one little tiny spot you still need to clean up. No matter how good you tape, you're gonna have to go back and clean up your lines. And it was the same way. We just use our microfiber here, and just using it dry, we'll go back and clean it up. Now keep in mind, we just spray waxed this car not more than a few days ago. So anything at all on the roof, if you have any kind of little speck of the overspray, it'll wipe right off, no problem at all. Now the trade-off of that is, if you spray wax a car, you have to use the solvent before you paint that to cut that wax. Doing this, I would just go ahead and spray wax your car or wax it first. That'll make sure whatever paint you get on the blue paint or on the actual paint of the car, you can easily clean up, and it's not going to be stuck on there. And that's kind of what the deal is. But everything else looks good. It's starting to dry. It's getting kind of dry spots in it now, and it should dry up pretty good. Okay, so we're pretty much dry now. We got a couple little wet spots. That's when I cleaned up the rest of that line, and we just use our microfiber, like I just said. Your fingernail, you can see little black spots on it, and you just run it down where that blue paint meets the rubber. Clean all that up so it looks perfect, and this side is looking really good. You see it's still drying just a little bit in a few little spots, but it'll even out. You can still see this very front spot. I don't know if you can see on the camera or not. You can see where it was peeled off. Now you go back and re-sand that several times to get it perfect, but we're not looking for absolutely perfect. And once that totally dries, there'll be more of a matte. You can still see a little bit of a line right there, even though I sanded it one more time. Other than that, though, that's the only thing I see. All the rest of the stuff looks good. It looks good in factory and OEM, and not like somebody's repainted. We could have painted it gloss black, could have clear coated it. It would have looked nice. It would have made the rest of the pieces on the car like this look like hell. And right at this minute, we're not into repainting all that stuff and doing all that crap. It's just a little too much. So that being said, as of right now, this car is going to John's tonight. He's going to test drive it, see if he likes it. If he does, he's going to make the trade. I've driven it on 2 trips the last 3 days. One being an hour and a half each way, so 3-hour round trip, no problem. We drove it on about an hour round trip yesterday. No issue at all. No check engine light. No problems at all. The only thing that we need to sort out, I need to put a little more Freon in the AC. I don't think it's ever been added to. It's still cold, but it was pretty hot yesterday, and it definitely would not keep up. So we're gonna, I guess, back it out here in a few minutes. We're gonna put a shot of that in there. Next, I want to show you something here real quick. So we pulled the E60 up here. We hand scrubbed it. Some bird already crapped on it, and it actually turned out pretty good. You can see on this driver's side, if you get down low, you can see some orange peel in it. Somebody has repainted that lower part. I don't see any Bondo anywhere in it. I mean, they did a good job. They just didn't wet sand and block sand the orange peel out. So it depends on what direction this goes. We might end up doing that. Something crapped on the back of there already too. Actually, that's dust from the stupid moss last night. Exactly what that is. The back bumper, I thought it looked like it was all scratched up. It was so damn dirty, and actually it's not. I'm pretty pleased about that. But look at this, if you can see it or not. Get the right angle. Somebody siliconed the third brake light in there. Did a terrible job of it, and we didn't see that before. A couple little scratches that'll buff out. Yeah, both back tires are losing air. This thing has to have tires. Got a few scratches. A lot of that will come out though, I think. And the interior is just an absolute train wreck right now. But I would say other than that, on these headlights, we're gonna have to get them on the workbench, take them out of the car. This one's like coming apart or something. We're gonna have to sort that. I did find headlight bulbs for it. That shouldn't be an issue. They're pretty cheap. The hood's got just some scuffing on it, but it'll all buff out real nice. So yeah, we do have the jack port covers for it. They're just out because we pulled it up here. On these headlights, I might go ahead and, after we do the engine, we know the car's good, we might go ahead and sand these down really good and finish them with 1000 grit and clear coat them. Somebody in the comments mentioned that in the last video, so we're gonna try that on this. And once the engine's up and running, then we'll put some new tires on it. We're gonna take all the seats out of this thing, sew up the gun hole in the front seat from the hood, and we'll basically clean every inch of the inside of this and get everything sorted. The shifter, I don't know if it's broke. I don't think it's broke. If it is broke, we'll rip it out of there and replace it. We need a mirror. We just need a bunch of stuff. A lot of you guys probably think I'm crazy, and the trade's gonna be is this E60 and this E39 for that blue car. A lot of you guys probably think I'm crazy for doing that. I probably am crazy for doing that, but it'll make good videos. It'll make decent money on the videos for me. It makes sense to do it if I'm gonna do it for myself. In the end, this car is worth quite a bit. I think the book at 92,000 miles is, I don't remember, $8,000 to $9,000. But this seems like a lot. I won't be able to get I won't be able to get anywhere close to that. Maybe I'll get 5 or 6 out of it if we fix everything on it. That's including the engine swap, and God only knows what else is broke on this thing. I'll have to go to the brakes and all that stuff. I'm sure it's all crusty. So yeah, I don't know. That's what's happening right now, and we'll see how it goes. So in the end, I guess this video is only for your how to paint your trim on your E90 or any BMW really. So that's it, guys. Thanks for watching.